Hello there, survivors! Welcome back to another build tutorial here in ARK Survival Ascended. This one is actually going to be my first modded build tutorial for this A-frame outpost. So in order to be able to build this, you will need the ASR build mod or Arkitect Structures Remastered, because I'm using mostly, if not only, the structures from that mod. But it is the best mod out there if you want to do a lot more with builds. But of course, you can't use this on official servers. As always, we'll do a full step-by-step build tutorial. Afterwards, I'll also have a tour if you want to see some inspiration for what you can do with the interior. And as always, if you enjoyed the tutorial, make sure you leave a like, subscribe to the channel for more, and if you want to support me even more, consider becoming a YouTube member. Let's get started with the building. Of course, we're going to get started by placing down a foundation so we know whether we have enough space. We want to start with 8 in a straight line, and of course the good thing about ASR is you can easily make them higher because you can stack the foundations if you need to. So you will probably always be able to find a place where you can build it because you can just level everything out. So we're going to have it 8 going outwards, but we're also going to have it 8 going across. So it's going to be an 8 by 8, but we're not going to completely fill it in yet. So yeah, 8 wide, 8 long. That is how we're going to start with this. And then here on this side, we're actually going to make this a 4. So 4 in total right there. This side we can actually extend it by 8 as well. So 8 across. So basically this would almost be a square, but we're just going to leave those 3 there open for now. Then we're going to go out by 1 and make this 7 in total. So 7 in total. And again, as you can see, if you need to, you can stack them on top of each other to make it the right height. Then this over here is going to be 6. So 6 in total. And again, just stack them if you need to. And this should line up with the shape over there. So you can connect these as well. And that is going to be our outline for the build. It might look a little bit strange right now, but believe me, it's all gonna make sense in a little bit. And then we're gonna take our wooden foundation. Now personally, I like to go for the planed on top look for this, because I just think that's a nicer floor. Also feel free to use any other floor, but I just think for the inside of the build, it's a little bit nicer to have wood, but we'll still have the metal on the outside to, you know, provide some more protection, I suppose. And then we just go around this whole build, filling in the foundation so that we have the start of our house. Okay, then it's time to start making the A-frames to get a shape. Here we want to start right here on the corner and go all the way across to the other side. And of course, we're gonna make some shapes in here. So we want to have 2 right there, then you want to have a singular one, and then you want to have another 2. So we're going to extend it on this side, 1 towards the outside, and then you probably have a little gap until the floor. So what I like to do is make the A-frame all the way into the ground, just because then it looks like it's properly finished. Now in some places it might not let you, unfortunately, which isn't great. Probably means that you're building on like a lower terrain. If you do have admin commands and you're building in creative or whatever, you can go into ghost. So you do cheat ghost to get in there, so you can go actually into the ground, and then you can see you can still place it. I'm not quite sure why it just won't let you place it, but there is a way if you have admin commands, if you're playing in single player, for example. If you don't want to do this, then just make sure that either it's high enough by raising it up a little bit higher, or just leave it out if it wouldn't let you. We're going to raise these up by 2 more. So 2 more all the way up. That's going to be the start of our A-frame shape. That's also going to be the height for this part. Actually, want to bring out some of our metal glass steep windows as well. so that we have some nice glass windows. Of course, you can choose the variants. I kind of like for the roof to have these bars around them, but if you wanted to, you could also go borderless if you wanted to have it even more smooth. But I think for this case, I like having the border around. Just blends in a little bit better with the rest of the metal. As for the other side, of course, we want to start here on the front by continuing this shape all the way down until our foundations. Then we want to actually extend this by the 1. Here we're actually going to extend these by 2, since this is going to be like covered with not having the window right there. But we'll have it here on the top layer, and we can also add it in here, and then make sure that we continue the roof all the way to the other side. We can actually leave a gap open, but we will have the roof on the bottom here. So for at least 2 high, we'll have the roof, just these 2. The rest is going to be the gap for the inside, so we can get to the other side there. But this is going to be the shape of the first A-frame. Might look a little bit random right now, but I assure you it will look a lot better in the end. Okay, and then we're going to start the second A-frame of the build. You want to start 2 from the outside here on the front of the building. And then we're going to add in the next shape. It's going to be 2 ceilings high. Again, using these steeper ceilings. We're going to go all the way until the end of the first A-frame, and then extend it by 2 more. In total, this should be 9 long. So 9 long. Then here, actually, we want to extend it down by 1 and in by 3. So 3 here on the front. That's going to do for now. And this is already going to show a little bit of the overlapping shape of the 2 A-frames. Okay, then here on the other side of the roof, we're going to, of course, go down by 3 in total to make the same kind of shape. Then here, we're going to go in by 2 more. So 3 in total again. We can raise that all the way up. Then here, we want to go across by 4 of them. And of course, fill in the top layers as well. And then we can fill in the other 2 all the way again, 3 down, so that we get the entire A-frame shape coming together. This is going to be overlap of these 2 A-frames. Then it's actually time to grab a gate. You want to place it here on this side at the end, on the middle part, right over there. That's going to be one of our entrances. And then right over here, right next to this, where the roof ends, you want to place another. Now you can choose just to place them like normal or extend them a little bit more. Completely up to what you like, but especially for that one, it's really nice to do this. For this one as well, if you just want to make it stick out from the wall a little bit better. Okay, then it's time to bring a little bit more structure into the main A-frame here. We're going to start off right here on the edge of this metal foundation, so where it lines up with the wood. One of these steep metal walls, and then we're going to continue that by 2 until right there, and we're going to do the same right here on this side. This is basically going to support everything until the next floor. You want to skip 1 foundation and then just go like this for the other side. Basically, these are going to be some supports for the next layer, making the A-frame look a little bit stronger in its construction. So right like this, then we can take out our steep walls again and place them in there, or the steep roof, I mean, of course, and place them in there so we get the proper supports. We can also do this for the middle right here. The middle one, we're actually going to go all the way to the top and go 1 down here on this side, not any further though. So we're going to do the same thing, of course, here, following the same shape to create another support beam in the building, looking like it's actually properly supported here. And then, of course, using these steep roofs again to fill it in, and then 1 normal ceiling right there to finish that support beam. And then here on the end, we're actually going to do the same thing as we did on the other side. So we're going to do just up until half of the A-frame as a little support. And then right here again as well, which ends right where the roof ends for this one. So there we go. We fill that in, of course, all the way until the first floor that we're going to add in really in a little bit. And then there we go. Those are there. And of course, do the same over here and make sure that we fill in these as well. I just like doing this. It doesn't really add too much to the building, except it just looks more properly supported like this. And then we can actually start filling in the rest of the walls. Now you want to use these glass sloped, steep slope walls for it. And I like to use the borderless variation just because I think that looks actually really, really nice. So we want to make sure that we add those in right there. And then here you actually want to, again, make sure that we follow the shape that we have left here. Down here you can choose, if you don't have overlapping, you can just use these sloped ones. If you do have overlapping, you could also just use full walls, but you might as well use these pieces. It's just as easy. And we'll do the same thing here on this side as well. And then we can start filling it in with the glass, again using the borderless glass to get a nice clean glass look for our build. There we go. So that is the start of it. Then what we actually want to do is have these thin metal beams going across like so to make a little dividing line between those. And then with the medium beam, we actually want to make a beam going from the bottom here all the way to the top of the A-frame. And we want to use those same beams right here. So leave a gap of 2 and then do the same thing just to have a little bit more of these wooden accents going on and adding a little bit more detail to this wall. Here on the front, we're going to do something similar, but first we're going to start with the doorways by adding in some greenhouse doorways right here in the middle, 2 next to each other. I like to use the double doors and then also just adding in the doors. I think these fits the best with the walls that we're using. And then we can start filling it the glass as well. So borderless glass shapes against the supports that we built before, going like this. And then up here again we're gonna follow the shape of the A-frame as well, filling in the glass like that, taking out the normal glass walls with the borderless variation and filling in the rest of this as well. Actually, you want to leave this one right here open, and there we can add in another double door from the greenhouse variation and add in some doors right there, because that's going to be access to a little balcony that we're going to add. We can add in the thin metal beam here again, leaving the gap for the door, just looks a little bit nicer. And then having the medium wooden beam variation going from the bottom to the top here in the middle, as well as here on the side as well, to again add in a little bit of that wooden color as a nice accent and detail. Then we want to use these triangle ceilings to create a little balcony going out by 2, and then just filling this in all the way across. Of course, this works even better if you're building on a cliff like I did for my example build, but of course, wherever you build this, it's nice to have. In this case, I probably would add some stairs at some point to also make it accessible, but just for now, we're gonna treat it like a normal balcony. And then right up here, we want to add in some metal ceilings as a balcony like so. And of course, on top of here, on the balcony, we want to make sure that we add in some nice railings for safety. And we want to do the same thing here on this balcony as well, just to make sure that it's safe for use, especially if you actually end up building it on the edge of a cliff. Now, depending on where you build this balcony, especially if it's sticking out over the edge of a cliff, for example, you might want to have some sloped roofs as support and then filling it in with sloped walls as well. One thing that we want to do with the medium variation is adding some of these beams across the bottom layer of this balcony, just to give it a little bit more detail. And we want to use the thin variation here on the edge of this balcony as well. Then we want to go for the steep sloped metal beam and adding them right here on the edge of our A-frame, just to add in that extra little bit of detail. And again, if you can, You can place it all the way down to the ground, into the ground. But of course, that will depend on your landscape. Here again, you could use the ghost trick to make it go deeper. And of course, here on the other side, we want to do the same thing for this A-frame, just to get that little edge going. And again, you can use ghost mode to go into the ground, so you can also have it everywhere on the edges if it won't let you do it otherwise. And actually here on the side of the roof, we want to make sure that it goes all the way down again. And also make sure you don't forget this little part in here, adding the beams on the end. And what I like to do here on the inside, actually having the beams here as well, just because it's kind of also an ending of this roof, even though it's inside of your house. Then it's time to take out our wooden ceilings over here. We want to again go to the planed on top. I just like that for a ceiling. And then we're going to fill in this A-frame all the way through, so that we actually create our second layer here. And then we're pretty much done with this part of the build. The only thing left to do is making a beam go across the top. You can pick between the default one, or maybe go a little bit smaller with the medium variation and follow along the entire top of this roof, just to connect them up and yeah, add a little extra detail to the roof. While we're at it, we might as well add that already to the other roof here as well. Alright, now it's time to start this side building, because we have a floating A-frame. We've got some weird gates. It's not really looking like a building yet. Let's make sure that it does. We want to start here on this side with a steep wall variant. Now, I like to go for the double paint. It's actually really nice because you have the same texture on both sides. And that's one of the advantages of using the ASR mod. The same thing for the normal walls, of course, and you want to make sure that they are 4 high in total, basically lining up with the bottom of the second A-frame. And we're going to continue this wall all the way here until the corner. Then for here, we're going to fill in this part, leave the bottom one out, then leave a gap of 2 and fill in the rest of the wall like so. Then with normal pillars, we're going to go all the way up like so. We're going to create a little shape and of course finish the shape at the top as well. Actually, we're going to go along the bottom of this wall, except for where the door is going to be, just to give a little bit more shape to the whole build. We're going to do the same here, leave the gap for the gate and continue this all the way until we reach the end here. Don't place anything here because there's no walls there, just where we have the wall part. Then here on this side, we're going to again continue these sloped walls like so. And then we can start filling in our normal walls on top of the gate as well. And then just continue again until the end of the foundations that we have. Now, there are some slight gaps between the wall and the gate. So what you might want to do is go for a pillar. You can go for the thick variation or for the thinner variation if you want to be more subtle. And then, of course, do those on both sides. This one, I might want to continue all the way through just to create that nice little line. And here on the end, we actually want to use normal pillars, continue them all the way down and all the way up just to end this wall in a nice way. Then on this side, we left one open. This is where we're going to place a normal door again using double paint. That looks a little bit nicer in my opinion. Filling it in with a door, of course. And then we can have a nice glass wall in this one, giving you some extra light and an extra window to look out of. And then here, we're also going to use the glass to fill in the rest of this wall again, to give you some light and to be able to enjoy the views around your base. We're going to use the wooden ceilings to extend by 2 here on the side. And we continue that until 1 before the end of this wall. Want to use some of the thin pillars or beams to go around the edge of this platform, as well as the thin pillars to fill in some supports, except for the one on the corner, to give it a little bit more of a rounded shape. And then here we'll do one more. Then we'll fill in some stairs here at the end so that you can reach this little platform or leave it. And we're also going to add some stairs here to the end. Now, depending on your landscape, you might have to add more or less. Usually there would probably be only one. So yeah, it depends on your landscape. This probably isn't the greatest spot, but this is just for the tutorial. Then of course we want to add in metal railings alongside these new added stairs, and then also alongside this whole little porch area. Okay, this is already giving our side building a little bit more shape. At least our A-frame isn't completely floating anymore. That's already a good start as well. Now it's time to finish the rest of the shape and the rest of the building. First off, by extending the foundations a little bit more, 2 out from where the gate is. And again, the ASR you can really use to flatten it out, so it shouldn't be a problem no matter what the landscape is like. And we're going to continue this foundation until the middle of this first A-frame that we worked on. So that's what it's going to look like. And then on the end, we want to add in some stairs so you can easily access your new platform. As well as taking out some railings to make sure to have a nice railing on the end. Also at the end of the stairs, and then continue it here on this side as well. Now normally it probably will let you place it here, but depending on your landscape, sometimes it might not. Okay, then it's time to place down some more pillars. Starting right here on the corner, making sure it goes all the way down and all the way up until it touches the A-frame. And then we're going to of course do the same thing on this corner as well, making it go all the way up to the A-frame. Now here we have this wooden pillar. You can leave it like this, that's totally fine. But you could change the bottom part of this to a metal pillar, just so that it matches the rest of these metal pillars. Again, personal preference, but yeah, in my opinion, might look a little bit nicer to keep this coherent. Then we switch this pillar to the thin variation and actually have 2 more of these pillars going up until the A-frame. And then here, there's another one that you can have all the way up until it touches the A-frame. And then 2 last pillars here in the middle. So with gaps of 2, we'll add these pillars as well. Again, until where the rest of the pillars go. So 4 high in total. And then this is where we take out our wood ceilings again, because we're going to start filling in a little bit, at least this part up here to the end of the A-frame. And as you can see, that should line up nicely with the pillars that we've just placed down. Then you can also have a thin beam going across the end of it to nicely connect it all together. And then here on the end, we can actually place a railing because this is going to be a balcony. Now it's time to get started on supporting this A-frame as well. One from the end, we're going to start again with these steep sloped walls all the way up and all the way down to build the supports. And then with a gap of 1, we're going to do the same thing again to build basically the similar supports that we did on the other part of the A-frame. And then we're going to, of course, fill these in on the inside as well with the steep roofs so that it looks like a proper support. And then here we're going to do the same thing. Start the shape like this. And then here it's going to go in by 1 metal piece. Then on the inside it's going to be slightly different. It's going to start right here, go up to the top, and then on this side it can actually go all the way to the end of this roof. And of course we're going to add in the roofs here on the inside as well, right there as well. And then right here it's going to be another ceiling to end the support like that. Then it's time again to add in the greenhouse double doors, 1 over here for the balcony and 1 over there for another balcony. Also filling in the doors. And then we can start filling in the rest of this wall. So we want to start with the glass right here to fill in this shape. And you should have it like that before we can use the normal glass walls again. Fill in the rest of that beautiful window. And then we do the same over here, filling in these shape with these borderless glass walls, just so that we have a beautiful window for the A-frame like so. And then of course here on the end of the A-frame, we can actually follow it up with these beams to complete the look. I want to complete it right here as well. And then here on the outside, of course. And we actually also want to do it here on the inside. Then right here, we're going to add in these medium wooden beams again. The same one here in the middle, just to add in that wood accent again. And then here on the other side, again, one in the middle going all the way up. One right here on the side and one more right there on that side as well. Then we're actually going to take the stairs, one from the corner, start making it go up. And this is how we're going to reach the next layer of our build. And this means that we can start filling in the rest of these ceilings. Now here actually we might want to get rid of these beams just because they stick through. And that might actually cause some problems. So you might have to place a little bit of the pillars back. But yeah, you might just want to do that because it's going to look a little bit better. Unfortunately, some of these roof pieces are going to stick a little bit through. There's nothing really you can do about that. Except, of course, place your decorations on top of those. And then here we can actually continue filling in the floors now that we know where the staircase is going to be. And we can continue this all the way until the end of the walls that we've already placed down, which should give you a better understanding of this top floor of the build, which also offers quite a lot of space. And here, of course, we take out the railing, place one down there, and then, of course, alongside the side of the staircase, we want to make sure it's all nice and safe. Okay, currently this is still a quite weirdly shaped wooden box, so we're going to make it a little bit more special. First off, we're going to start with the metal ceilings from this corner right here. It's going to create a little balcony. We're going to continue that all the way around this box that we've created to make it look a little bit nicer and have a little overhang to the sides. And then what we want to do is we want to take out these sloped walls again, the wooden slope walls right there on both of these ends. And then continue the wall by 2 more. Just to fill it in like so. And then here at the end we want to use some of these metal pillars. We can fill in the roof with some glass. I would probably stay with the borderless. Just really like the look of that, and it's gonna let in a bunch of light for this part of the building as well. Then we're gonna make a nice little edge around it again with some ceilings, some metal ceilings all around this roof. Then again, we want to have the double doors right there in the middle and some of this borderless glass walls around it to end off this shape. Fill in the doors. Then we can use the thin metal beam right on top of the doors as well to finish the shape. Looks a little bit nicer. I would advise doing that above all of the doors that we've placed. I think it looks a little bit better. But of course, if you feel differently, feel free to leave this step out. And then we actually want to continue this all the way around this roof as well as a little nice border for your roof, going all the way until here, and as well on this balcony actually, as well as around this sunlight roof that we have with the glass. Just want to go all the way around. And then we can have our railings, of course, to make this all safe. We also want to have the railings here because, yeah, you can definitely use this part of the roof to easily land your flyers, safely park them, etc, etc, or just enjoy the views around your base as well, or maybe make a little garden on your roof. And now it's already almost done. It's starting to look like a proper build. We're going to take out these ones again, the steep walls, and just continue the shape down like this to add a little bit of extra spice to the building. And we're going to do that same shape right over there again, just to add a little bit of these nice lines to it. We're going to, of course, do the same thing on the other side as well for both of these. I really like these lines because I feel like they give a nice extra shape to the build. And then here we're going to end it with a metal wall going down into the ground. There we go. That is a pretty good start. Now, as an extra little detail, what you could do, you could add some of these thin half pillars on top of these to add a little bit of extra details to your balconies. Same here on the corners, of course. Make it a little bit nicer. Here you could add them in as well if you wanted to. Same over here on these corners. Just the little details to make it all work. Here I would probably do it like this. Same over there. So yeah, that is pretty much how you build this A-frame design. I really like it. These steep roofs really make the A-frames like I always want them to be able to be built. Unfortunately, they aren't in normal ARK. Hopefully one day we'll get these. And then of course, before we forget, make sure that you actually fill in these gates, because you might want to be able to close up your house, even though I usually tend to leave these open quite a bit. It's nice to be able to lock your house and make it all safe. Actually, as a finishing touch, you could also add a little beam at the bottom of this, just to make sure that it's really all connected up nicely. And there we go. That is basically the whole A-frame outpost design. Hopefully you were able to follow this tutorial. Let's go for a little tour around the base and give you a little bit of inspiration on how you might decorate the place. Now, by no means is this the best way to decorate it, but it's just to give you a little bit of inspiration. As you can see, you can use this outside porch as a little bit of parking. You could also park some normal dinos here, because the flyers you can also have on the roof, of course. Then we'll enter right here through the first gate. We have a little bit of storage right here. A little bit clipped into the wall, but that's totally fine. A little bit of storage under the staircase. And you can see you can actually fit in a replicator if you're careful. I'm not sure if it's the best space for it, but it is possible. Chemistry bench right there. We got the forge right here. A teleporter in the corner. Some crafting stations here. The generator. Crafting. And then just a nice balcony with some palm trees. And then we have here the outside porch with the little cooking station for some colors. And then of course we have the upstairs as well, where we have a bunch of cryo fridges. You know, we want to have everything nicely sorted. You got a little bit of storage. You could probably better use some vaults here to get more storage. We got a nice little map as decoration. Plenty of space left still. And then we got some beds right here. We're not really using this base too much anymore. It was kind of a starter place, so it's not decorated too much. But yeah, you definitely have some decent amount of space in this base. And don't forget, you can always add a nice little fireplace as a little bit of detail as well. And then of course you have the roof terrace here as well, where you can park some of your flyers if you want to easy access. I would advise having some water around as well, just because you can. Always nice to have. And yeah, that is basically it. Really hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and if you want to show even more support as well as get early access to all of the videos that I post, consider becoming a YouTube member. Tier 2 members actually get early access to every video. And with that being said, hopefully I'll see you around in the next one. Goodbye.